Hi, everybody. Matt Bernier, joined by Woodbine analyst Jeff Bratt, taking a look at the Saturday Woodbine play of the day. Stakes action in race number 8, 7/8 of a mile on the main track. It is the $100,000 Overskate. And Jeff, this race, well, look, there's only one way to start this thing off. We have to talk about Pink Lloyd. Pink Lloyd has been boss up north of the border for what it feels like 3 or 4 years now. He's just rock solid. We know what his accomplishments sort of entail. We know what he's capable of on his best day, which made the entire sort of disaster in the Bold Venture that much more perplexing. Where do we go from there?
You could see it brewing all year, though, with this horse. He was acting up in the starting gates. I think we should go back, though, because you can make a movie about this horse. Doesn't make it to the race until the age of 4. At the age of 5 is unbeatable. But at the age of 6 becomes a bit of a bad boy. Wants to break through the gates all the time. And on some occasions, timed the gate perfectly, but then was a bit of a runoff in those races, wanted to be speed crazy. Then I thought they had things under control. He came from more of an off-the-pace position there for a couple of races. I thought, okay, he's back. But last time out, that was the worst he's ever been. He broke through the gate without the rider. They were able to corral the horse in a relatively short time period, got the rider back aboard. But horses never win after they do that, and he did not run up to expectations, and he finished 5th, losing by about 7 lengths. So, if you're asking me to take a low price on a horse like this, who knows, he needs a visit to the horse psychiatrist, I guess. But, he's just, if he behaves and brings his 8 game, he wins the race. But I'm not taking 6-5 on a horse like this right now.
Well, and really, that's what it boils down to with a horse like this. Like you say, he's 7-5 on the morning line. And for anyone that's looking for some sort of inkling to confidently single this horse or to play him heavy as far as a win contender is concerned, is there anything at this point? I mean, this is 6 consecutive races where he hasn't got out of the gate in good order.
Right.
At this point, I don't know if I can come up with any sort of reason where you should expect anything different. Can you?
And let's say he gets through the gate okay, but then he's a runoff again. There's a ton of other speed in this race, too. You look at some of the makeup of this race, you've got like Boreal Spirit in here. That's very, very fast. You've got Sweetgrass Creek that can show some speed, Not So Quiet from the inside. I mean, you got some really, really quick horses in here. So, A, he has to be on his best behavior in the gates, and B, during the run of the race, he has to be able to settle as well.
I think for many people, the logical alternative, and rightfully so, is the number 5 Kingsport.
Yeah.
Kingsport most recently won a stakes race on yielding turf, going a mile, but we know he's plenty capable on the synthetic. He's 8 for 24 lifetime on the synth. He didn't have a great go of it 2 starts back in that Bold Venture either, but I think there's reason to believe that he at least is going right sort of direction based on that most recent effort.
I would agree. And 6.5, that's a tough distance for him, too. That's a little bit. And a speed winner won it, got that being Yorkton. So I think he's got a big shot in here. Thor's Rocket is one that I really liked last time out in the bunch, and he hung. He had every chance. He had by half a length down the sport. It's just he came back on to win it. I don't mind the cutback 7/8 of a mile. I do find it interesting, though. I'm not a big weight guy, but I find it interesting that for the first time somebody has to carry the same amount of weight as Pink Lloyd here at 126 pounds.
We'll find out. And like you say, Kingsport, he should get a pretty good setup in here. I'm curious about your thoughts on the horse that I found a little bit intriguing in here. And you had laid out the potentially fast-paced scenario, which would, let's be honest, be the undoing of the horse that I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. The number 1, Not So Quiet, breaking down on the inside. This horse is finally going to get the serious acid test against better horses, very lightly raced, 3 for 4 lifetime. But you can't help but notice that all 3 victories came in gate-to-wire fashion. Breaking from the inside, Rafael Hernandez, I think there's only one way for them to go. I think they have to send and try to clear off to the front. Obviously, if he takes some heat early on, that could certainly compromise his chances. I guess I'm just more curious about your thoughts overall about this horse, and where does he stack up with potential going forward talent-wise?
So I remember he debuted on a Wednesday night. It was the last race on a Wednesday night, and he crushed on that day. He didn't beat much on that day, but he did it the right way. So he was an immediate play second time out. And then third time out, I thought, okay, he's kind of reached his level. Like he's not able to make that next, which is fine because he's a 3-year-old. And all of a sudden, his 4th career start, he was amazing on that day. Got a huge figure. He got a 94. This is a real promising prospect for next season. And if they weren't going to use that speed approach originally, when the post position draw came out, they are now. Because with that rail, I don't think they can take back in here. He's a dangerous horse, Matt, because he's developing, and I didn't think he would be able at this point of his career to take that next step, and he has. 7/8 of a distance, 7 furlong distance might be a bit of a challenge for him in here, but you're going to get a square price with him. He's definitely going the right direction. And I think will be even better next year, but you want to get on his bandwagon right now while you can.
Well, and you kind of tipped off what my other question to you was going to be. This 7/8 distance, the only time he's tried it, that was his loss. But I kind of feel like, again, I think you can sort of build in, I don't want to say the excuse, but the fact that he didn't actually make the front that day, and
Yeah.
perhaps he is a need the lead type. Now, that may not necessarily be a good thing for him going forward if he absolutely has to have the front. But from the inside, I don't think there's really any question for Hernandez. You got to go.
Yeah, I think you got to go as well in here. And, he's just, I mean, look at his works coming back, 58 and 59 and 1. He's just so sharp right now. And this barn has quietly had a really productive campaign at Woodbine. They've brought some, what I like is they've brought some real young, talented horses to the equation as well.
Race 8 on Saturday. It is the Woodbine play of the day. It's the $100,000 Overskate. There's no question that Pink Lloyd is the horse to beat. But boy, based on these 6 most recent starts and that bold venture most recently, the unmitigated disaster, it's going to be very difficult to trust him at a short price. Jeff and I are both going to take some shots against. Truth be told, I think Jeff's on the right horse. I think Kingsport is the horse in here that is the sort of obvious alternative, and you might get still a square price on him. He's 5-2 on the morning line. I'm taking a little bit of a flyer, hoping the pace doesn't quite materialize the way that it looks like it could on paper down on the inside with the number 1. Not so quiet at 5-1. Scheduled post time for the 8th race at Woodbine on Saturday. The Overskate, the Woodbine play of the day, is 4:47 Eastern. Good luck.